We are at Holsey Temple CME, downtown historic Macon. This building over 100 years old. I mean, literally, when we were in the attic, there's no nails. It's all wooden dowels, and it's really got to really be careful when you're meshing the entertainment of audio and video into a church that was over 100 years old. You're going to love it. All right, one of the challenges when you're in a church like Holsey Temple, when it's over 100 years old, there's a lot of challenges. And another thing that comes into it is there's been many audio systems over the last 100 years as times have changed. Just to give you an example, up here originally, there was this huge 5-foot very antique made speaker that was there, and it basically was made by a company called Toa back then, and it was good for the time. But as music gets better, the sound has to be better, right? In the middle of this church is still hanging there is this thing that looks kind of like the Death Star from Star Wars, and it was a good idea for its time. But modern times, modern sound, right? So in here we've got Peavy's new SSC 12. That's called the Sanctuary 12. I love this speaker. I have told y'all that 1,000 times. They'll hold 500 watts of power. I've never had a defective one at this point. And they basically takes two to fill this whole church with sound. Now up top we put spot monitors. Peavy makes a spot monitor called the Peavy Impulse that just allows you to have a little bit of sound in like a 6-foot area, and that's for your soloists and people that play in a band or the praise group and stuff, and it gives them sound without it coming out into the congregation. We did Peavy's, I'm sure you've seen a cutaway of the new podium mic. It's got an extended 16-inch bass on it because their pastor's a big fella, and that gives him a way you don't have to lean up onto the podium when he is preaching. Now the coolest thing about it is you see we've got scripture up top. We did a 12-foot motorized screen. So when the screen goes up, it goes all the way up into that arch there, which is nice. The hardest thing about this was chandelier placements are in the center. So our men came in and built scaffolding. We raised the chandelier to get a proper point for the projector to hang. And let me just go ahead and tell you, it's a whole feat when you get up into a place that has no nails. Everything in here is wooden dowels, so you really have to think and make sure you stay as structurally sound as a church that's been here for 100 years. Now, in the booth back there, we've got a PV mixer, plenty of power, 2,500 watts of power, and we just got the okay to upgrade to a PTZ camera. So it'll be another part of this that comes next time so they can zoom in and out because they are recording on CD and DVD. Now, Holsey Temple, this is how it's done. Listen, the whole thing about it, and a lot of times the resistance comes from what? It comes from the fact that a lot of people don't want to mess up the historic value of the church. So I used the mounting locations of where the speaker is. I used the mounting locations of where previous lights were for the screen. So we kept the structural integrity of this without goofing it up, if you will. Holsey Temple, you got to come visit Macon, Georgia. I'm loving it. All right, Holsey Temple, downtown historic Macon. I'm with Mr. Price, who's been here 85 years. Thank you for letting us serve you.
We want to thank you for this audio system. It sounds great.
I mean, you got a 12-foot screen in the back, the projector, and it was so great to have him as a part of it because he knew all the nooks and crannies of a church that was built with no nails, if you want to keep that in mind. So you are such a blessing to let us be a part of your team.
Thank you. We enjoyed doing business with you.
Thank you. Holsey Temple, 1011 Washington Avenue, downtown Macon.
Downtown Macon. Yeah.